Shalom, everybody. Insights in the Parsha of the week, Parshat Bechukotai. The bulk of the Parsha speaks about all types of punishments that come about for a person who doesn't learn Torah, doesn't fulfill the Torah, does not seek to go deeper in the Torah, and begins to mock the sages, to mock faith in the tzaddikim, and to prevent other people from following the words of the sages. So there's a list of groups of 7 punishments, 7 times 7 times 7, like another 7, another 7, another 7. And it's pretty scary, all the punishments, okay? Right after the whole parsha, and the end, it ends with obviously exile. And then Hashem says, but even though I'll exile them, lo ma'astim velo gi'altim lachalutam, I will not be disgusted and, distasted about the Jewish people to destroy them. Rather, they should and will do tshuva from Galut, and they'll come back. And Hashem says, I promise to be with them even in exile, and they'll come back. Right after this, the parsha goes into the laws of arachim, endowment valuations, a type of a neder, a pledge, but in the form of a vow, tzedakah, given to the Beit HaMikdash, the temple at the time. Right? The verse reads, Ki afli neder be'erkecha nefashot lashem. If a person expresses a vow of a monetary value of people to Hashem. So it goes into categories. A person says, this person's value, I want to give as a vow to the Beit HaMikdash. So it depends what age he is. If he's over 60, if he's over 20, if he's over the age of 5, if he's over 5 months. There's different pledges, and if he's a male, female, and then it goes into animals and land and everything, okay? The question is, why the juxtaposition of this parsha, of all the punishments if you don't follow the Torah, all these terrible things, and then exile, and then in exile the land will finally get a break, Eretz Yisrael will get a break for all the sabbatical Shemitah years and Yovel, Jubilee years that the Jewish people didn't keep. Then in exile, the land will get back all that was taken, was lost because the Jews did not observe the laws of the Jubilee, okay? And then right after that, you have this parsha of tzedakah, arachin, endowment valuations in the format of a vow. What in the world is this doing next to this? What's the connection? What's to learn here? So it seems the parsha is telling us that chas v'shalom, to avoid a repetition of this damage, to avoid more damage, the solution is neder. Tzedakah in the format of neder. Rabbi Nachman goes into this in lesson 57 about the concept of a neder, that the neder is something so powerful, and doing a neder and fulfilling it immediately. And Rav Nosson says, in particular, tzedakah, giving charity as a neder, is something that helps connect a person to the highest of levels. Here, the pasuk says here in this week's parsha, right? Ki yafli neder. For a person, that's a funny translation where he expresses a vow. Lefaleh is also rooted to the word pele, which is wondrous, which is a reference in Kabbalistic terminology to the Keter, which is the gateway to the infinite light. To explain, Rav Nosson explains that what is a neder? What is a vow? A vow is that a person now is able, with the power of making a vow, to create a new Torah, something which wasn't there, and now all of a sudden, from nothing, a person makes something. A person, for example, is allowed to eat this piece of cake in front of him. It's kosher, everything's okay, chocolate, it's okay, no medical issues, anything, he can eat it. But the person says, I take upon myself as a neder not to eat this piece of cake, and his intent is because he wants to work on breaking his desire for food and sweets and everything. So now for this person, him eating that cake or that piece of chocolate is as prohibited as eating on Yom Kippur, as on desecrating Shabbat. What in the world? What happened? The person with the power of a vow creates from nothing. There was nothing there. It was a piece of cake. He can eat it. From nothing, he creates a Torah. How can that be? Rav Nosson asks, how could you create Torah from nothing? Because it's what's called the hidden Torah. The Torah is to be found everywhere in creation, even in items which have nothing to do with Torah laws on a basic level. In other words, everything's permissible. Still, a person can activate Torah configurations regarding this item that's permissible, forbidden, etc., even though beforehand there was no prohibition. This is the power of the Neder. To do that, the Neder, the vow, when a person takes on a Neder, it ascends him by, when he makes the Neder, the vow, it brings him up to the level of the Keter, which is the gateway to the infinite light, which is the source of the Torah that we have. So in other words, he's going to the source above the Torah that even we have today. He's going to the source by doing a vow. He's like now making a new extension of a Torah from the root now to this item. This cake now is forbidden for me. I can't eat it now. That's it. And it's as prohibited as desecrating Shabbat, as eating on Kippur. What happened? That's the power of the Neder. It goes up to the Pele. That's why the verse uses the word ki yafli. Even the yafli, again, is translated as expression. A person expresses verbally a vow, but its root is Pele, which refers to the source of the Keter. The Pele is called also the idea, the source of the Keter. So now what's amazing is Rashi, in this week's Parsha, on the word for valuation is Erech, Ayin Reish Chaf. But the Parasha writes it Erkecha. It adds a second Chaf at the end. So it's like it shouldn't. The translation is not different. Erech and Erkecha mean the same. So Rashi says something amazing. Rashi says, "Eini yodea ma ba melamdenu." I don't know. The little translation Rashi is saying, I don't know what this extra chaf at the end is coming to teach us. So watch this. The chaf in Kabbalah, the letter chaf, also refers to the Keter. There's a concept, there's a phrase used in the Kabbalah. Rabbi Nachman brings this phrase in lesson 6 of Likutey Moharan. Ein Keter belo chaf. Keter is corresponding to the kaf. You need kaf to have Keter. Meaning, this Rav Shechter explains nicely, that the opening letter of a word, the shape of that letter and the concept of that letter is referring to the word itself. So in the case of Keter, the opening letter is kaf. So the kaf itself is referring to the concept of the Keter. Okay? There's much more depth, obviously, in this idea. But kaf refers to the Keter. And Rabbi Nachman teaches in lesson 24 of the Likutey Moharan that the qualifications of Keter is you enter a domain where you don't know. The famous dictum, Tachlit hayediyah delo neda. The goal, the end goal of knowledge is to know that you don't know. Higher than knowing is the higher level, I don't know. In other words, emunah, which comes above, as much as you're learning and you know the Talmud and Shas inside out, and Shulchan Aruch and Poskim and Midrash and Zohar and Kabbalah and everything, greater than all that is to reach, in other words, what's the goal of all that? Is to know that you don't know. That's the level of the Keter. So we can now read Rashi in the following format. Rashi is saying, Ein yodea ma, I don't know, which is what? Melamdenu is coming to teach us. In other words, the extra kaf is coming to teach us the concept of not knowing. In other words, the Keter. So Erech Chaf is showing that these vows given by person who wants to take a vow, he's actually connecting to the kaf, the Keter. So that's why it's written Erech Kaf, Erkecha, an extra additional kaf, to show that with the Neder, with the vow, we now connect to the root of the Torah, a level of Torah which is higher than the Torah we have, a Torah that we can create a new Torah, which is the idea of a vow, taking something which is kosher and permissible, and now making it forbidden. Why? It's Neder, now it's totally forbidden. Just like desecrating Shabbat, if I eat this chocolate or this cake, it's as forbidden now. Other person can eat it, no problem. But me, I created a Torah Neder, and that the power to do that comes from the level of the Keter, which is this level which it bypasses the sechel, the intellect, which is like what Rashi says, Eini yodea ma melamdenu, that it comes to teach us ma, what? I have no footing in this domain. With that said, we can now understand the juxtaposition of this parsha with the Parsha of all the punishments and everything. And that, when a Jew sees that he's so far, and that he's saying, Hashem, you're going to punish us if I don't learn Torah and I don't exert myself. But how to do that? Where, Hashem, can I get strength not to fall to that? I don't want to fall to that level, but I'm weak, Hashem. I know myself very well that you can just flick me and I'll fall. What can I do, Hashem, to give me strength and power not to fall and to be deserving, God forbid, of these punishments mentioned in Parshat Bechukotai? They shouldn't happen to me again, even though we're in exile now. But we can still be saved. Look, we had this year, the Jews were killed and everything. Things happen. Things happen. The Holocaust, etc. Things happening. There are times when it's easy, it's nice, you could eat your ice cream and you have a nice vacation with your family. But there's times where there's pogroms, there's Holocaust, there's people, Jews being killed because they're Jewish, there's punishments, people dying and this and that. So what can we do to be saved from punishment due to a slackening in Torah observance and learning the Torah? The answer is the power of a vow, Neder. Rav Nosson says you can give tzedakah, fine, but you can give tzedakah through a Neder. He gives an example of Nosson in Likutey Moharan that a person, for example, has a coin to give to charity, and he has the charity box in front of him. So he can do, Hashem, I take upon myself as a Neder to give this coin to charity, and then immediately put it in the charity box. So he gained two things. He gained the mitzvah tzedakah, but now he gained the mitzvah tzedakah in the format of a vow. In other words, he has to give that coin now. He can't now give another coin or give it later. That coin has to go into the... He didn't... When you give tzedakah, you don't have to give this dollar, this coin. You choose. And you can also refrain from giving, technically. But here, when it's done as a vow, that's it. You're stuck. Why? Because now you've connected, not tampered, but you've connected to the world of the domain, the realm of Neder, which is the domain of the Pelek, Yafli Neder, which is the domain of the Keter. Okay, this high level. What that does is it gives a person to reconnect. Neder, Rabbi Nachman explains in lesson 57, reconnects a person to the root of the Torah, and by doing so, he's able to boost energy. Now, even though the Shulchan Aruch says it's best advised not to do Nedarim, because it's very dangerous. For example, the Gemara says, Ba'avon Nedarim Bani Metim. For the sin of not fulfilling your pledge, your vow, a person's young children die, chas v'shalom, God forbid. So there is a danger that we're worried the person shouldn't do it. However, in this case, where you do it immediately, okay, a person says, I take upon myself as a vow to give tzedakah and everything, and you do it, there's no time elapse, you do it immediately, so that is something which is considered beneficial when your intent is to activate the neder, the vow, in order to connect to this level of the pele. And this is the reasoning we can see of the juxtaposition of this parsha of the vows, evaluation vows, to the parsha of the punishments for not fulfilling the Torah, to say that this is our key. Vows, nedarim, when done properly, gives a person a koach and a strength from the root of the Torah itself, and thus giving him more energy. In a sense, we see in the word erech, you have erkecha, right? Erech and then chaf. Erech, ayin 70, reish 200, chaf 20. That's gematria. That's 260. Plus the final chaf there. Am I right? 1 second, 70, 270. No. Ayin, erech. Yeah, sorry. The word erech itself, 70 plus 20 plus reish 200 is 290, which is the gematria of ratz, to run. Okay? That when a person activates a neder, the erech, so it's erech chaf, he runs to the chaf, the keter. He runs to connect to the keter, meaning what? He taps into a higher level of strength and energy to help him to fulfill the Torah and help him to study the Torah and to delve into the Torah and to fulfill the Torah and to listen to the words of the sages. B'ezrat Hashem. We should be zoche, not to panic, not to fear of falling more in our exile, rather using the weapons that the Torah and the tzaddikim advise us to in order to tap to a higher level of the Torah, the root, which will only strengthen our fulfillment of the Torah that we have. Shabbat Shalom Baruch.